It has been described by Treasurer Jim Chalmers as a budget to help struggling Australians. But the government's economic blueprint has been met with mixed reviews this morning.
That's for sure. It was always going to be a delicate balancing act, delivering policies to both provide cost of living relief and bring down inflation. Not everyone is convinced the Treasurer has got it right. The Treasurer touts a budget with twin triumphs.
Responsible relief that eases pressure on people and directly reduces inflation.
Jim Chalmers with a promise to ease the pain.
The number one priority of this government and this budget is helping Australians with the cost of living.
$7.8 billion in extra support. Energy rebates for all, regardless of income, costing $3.5 billion, slashing $300 off bills from July the 1st. $325 for around 1 million small businesses.
Keeping the lights on for families and businesses.
Commonwealth rent assistance increased an extra 10%, setting the government back $1.9 billion. For singles, a top-up of $18.80 a fortnight, $25 for families. The combined impact? Slashing inflation forecast by 0.5%, dipping below 3% before Christmas, hoping to trigger earlier than expected interest rate cuts, but that's the big unknown.
But we know that people are still under the pump.
So, to help, the maximum cost of PBS-listed medicines will be frozen at $31.60 until the end of next year, $7.70 for pensioners and concession card holders for the next 5 years. A $1 billion boost to incentives for states and territories to build more houses sooner. Universities to construct additional accommodation for overseas students, as migration falls from 395,000 to 260,000 next year, taking pressure off. There'll be another 24,000 home aged care packages, deeming rates on pensioners' assets frozen again. Small businesses to receive the $20,000 instant asset write-off for another year. The nation's books in the black, a second consecutive surplus of $9.3 billion this year, but bigger deficits from next year, $28 billion, then $43 billion. Economic growth slowing to 2 and 2.25%.
Despite everything coming at us, we are among the best placed economies to manage these uncertainties.
5 years of real wages growth. Pay packets increasing above inflation through to 2028.
This is a budget for the here and now, and it's a budget for the decades to come.
The government beginning the hard sell this morning on Sunrise.
We've made sure that all of the cost of living measures that we've got, whether it be those that I've mentioned or fee-free TAFE and other measures, are all designed to provide that support without adding to inflation. It is a difficult task that we had, but it's one I believe that we've achieved.
Well, let's bring in political editor Mark Riley.
Well, we don't have to. I feel like I covered most of it.
Oh, yes, no, you did a very good job.
Thank you.
This is all over.
This is just the sprinkles on top.
All right, sprinklers.
Hello, sprinkles. Mark, what do you
I've
make
never
of
been called that before. There's a shock.
Mark, what do you make of the budget?
Well, guys, there's a big gamble here politically and economically. Jim Chalmers is talking about economic responsibility but spending big, trying to essentially buy his way out of an inflation crisis. That is quite a novel approach. There's $7.8 billion in cost of living relief here, all targeted forcing down inflation over the next 6 months to bring about interest rate cuts just ahead of the next election. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, in that interview there we showed a bit of in Sunrise this morning, said what I've been saying for about the past year. He's now likely to have an early budget in March next year and an election probably in May. Now that could change, but it's the plan at the moment, which would make this the first in a two-budget strategy, if you like, leading up to that poll. Views on the budget, as you said, are mixed, but the opinion that really matters will come from the Reserve Bank and whether it believes the energy bill relief to all households, the freeze on the cost of medicines and the Commonwealth rent relief will indeed drive down inflation or not, and whether it then cuts interest rates. That is the big question, and the government's future really relies on that answer, guys.
Yeah, those mixed reviews you're talking about are flying all over the place this morning. So how would you sum up how it's being received by the power brokers in general in Canberra?
Well, of course, the government thinks it's fantastic, but those on the other side who are not really sold, as crossbencher Jackie Lambie was none too impressed. She called the energy relief a band-aid solution, and she says the government's just spraying money around without targeting the big social problems. The opposition will probably support the cost of living relief with reservations, but Shadow Finance Minister told Sunrise that, that's Jane Hume, she told Sunrise that Jim Chalmers is trying to fool voters. Let's have a listen to what they said.
Big tax, big spend and a bit of a con job. The Reserve Bank aren't stupid, you know. They're going to be able to see through the big cash spend that this budget provides.
You know, the people that are getting the best sugar hit are the politicians up here and the ones that have got money already. The $4,500 tax relief, you know, the $300 energy relief, which was not targeted.
So the big sales job is on now, guys. The voters will have to be convinced that this will do the job, and we'll know in pretty short order. That's an interesting thing. It's only a few months until we'll get an idea about where inflation and interest rates are going, and that's the big gamble for the government.
Yeah, OK. Mark Riley there for us live in Canberra. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Riles.